I'm sure we can just get into Dr. Kojo Pumpuni Asante, who is Director of Policy, Engagement and Partnerships at CDD Ghana.
Doc, good morning. Welcome to the Super Morning Show. I hope you are well.
Good morning, and good morning to your listeners.
Great. I hope you've been able to, or you caught that interview with General Mosquito, Mr. Asiedu Nketia, and his position that the top three at the EC must be removed. Your initial thoughts, sir?
I mean, this is obviously the first time that Mr. Asiedu Nketia had spoken about his concerns about the Electoral Commission and his desire that basically there should be a leadership change, at the Electoral Commission. But I think Mr. Asiedu Nketia is a very experienced politician. I've seen many elections. And he may have a genuine basis for canvassing for the removal of the leadership, and I think he was trying to articulate that in that interview. But it's clear that where you have a case where he happens to be the chairman of the governing party, and that if there was to be any process triggered for the removal of the leadership of the EC, it will fall in the lap of the president, who by constitutional dictate has to forward it to the Chief Justice, and the process will be picked up from there. Once that you get these kinds of statements from somebody high up in the party like him, it would definitely impact on public perceptions about political bias or political interest in sort of pushing out the leadership. So I think that's the challenge that I would think that, given the challenges that he knows with the way people might perceive the issue of political interference, that these desires will be kept quiet. I mean, at the end, there is a process. If anybody, and remember, he's also a citizen of Ghana, if anybody felt that the leadership of the Electoral Commission has not performed their responsibilities, that they need to leave, there is a process for doing that. So his only problem is that he just happens to be in a position where adding his voice and calling for this, create a perception that this anything that happens will be induced, and this is something that is always very difficult to explain away or to separate the issues about genuine misperformance or deficit in the way in which the leadership has conducted themselves. So I think that's the problem, that when he adds his voice, this is the problem that it creates.
Now, Doc, if you look at the work of the CDD, for example, you've urged the EC to address long-standing issues surrounding the electoral process, some of the unresolved challenges and related matters. You've also emphasized that we need to restore public trust in the EC by improving transparency, accountability, especially in the context of the 2024 elections. If you also look at the Afrobarometer reports that your institution leads, over the years, public trust in the EC has dropped by about 21%. There are so many issues. And looking at the political climate in Ghana now, do you not think that changes at the top of the EC and reforms at the EC would increase the public trust, and Asiedu Nketia's call may be in the right direction?
Yeah, so as I said, that he as a citizen has a right to call, but you cannot escape the fact that he's also a chairman of the governing party. And I think for me, I've always advocated for this, that really the problem has to be the governance reforms, not just the EC. The same view we've taken with the judiciary, that just changing persons doesn't really solve any problem because the matters are rooted in the governance. For example, we've talked about how the EC chair is appointed, how the commission, because the commission is supposed to be a 7-member commission, but over the years it's become a sole commissioner. So one person who chairs it seems to dominate in the decision making, whilst it's supposed to be a collective decision making. But there is no real provision as to how the internal decision making of the electoral commission, the 7-member, should be constituted, and applied. So those are for us bigger issues that have to be addressed. If you address them, I believe that even whoever is there can only operate within those rules. At the moment, if you change, when this happened with Madam Charlotte Osei, when the MPP came in 2017, the first 3 executives were removed. That became a source of grievance and agitation throughout the entire 8 years, and now we are back again. So we are still dealing with symptoms and not for me the underlying challenges, which has to do with the entire framework and architecture of the EC, which I believe that the current constitutional review process can cure if we put our energies in it.
So you believe that the sanity we require does not only come when we remove the people at the top. We need to sanitize the whole system, the whole process, so that we leave a legacy institution that serves us right.
Yeah, because I think it's the rules of the game that basically structures the way individuals behave. I think in the Electoral Commission's case, because you had somebody like Dr. Farijan there for over 2 decades, it creates a certain practice that the commission is a sole commissioner instead of a commission, and that has become an issue for many people, and even internally for staff and so on. So, if we want to really address the problems and make the Electoral Commission independent, like even, for example, it doesn't say in the appointment of the Electoral Commissioner that you have to be politically neutral, like written expressly. So we've had situations where people who were known to be actively party people appointed the Electoral Commission, and that then creates concerns. So we have to change the rules clearly to state that if you are going to be taking a position in the Electoral Commission, there must be clarity that you are not politically affiliated. So I don't think you solve that problem with just removing people. If this government, after a process, we go through a process even where it leads to the removal of whoever you bring there, will be seen as representing the governing party and not an independent institution if the rules don't change because of the kinds of discretion and a legacy posture that has developed over the years. So for me, we have an opportunity with this constitutional timeline, if by God's grace the report even comes out maybe at the end of September, we can put our energies in trying to change at least the non-entrenched clauses that are affected, that and begin to change the way we govern in this country. I think that's the solution. Otherwise, we are just basically just piling up our problems. It doesn't take away the perception issues and so on.
Dr. Asante, thank you so much for spending your morning with us here on the Super Morning Show.